Emma and Jack had built their life together on the quiet streets of Maplewood, a cozy suburb where the rhythm of days mirrored the steady beat of their marriage. Their home was a charming two-story with soft cream siding and a porch swing that creaked gently in the evening breeze. It was the kind of place that welcomed neighbors with warm smiles and the scent of freshly baked bread wafting through the kitchen windows. Every detail spoke of a shared commitment, from the carefully tended garden blooming with roses and hydrangeas to the framed photographs that lined the hallway, snapshots of milestones, laughter, and ordinary moments made extraordinary by being together. Their daily routine was a dance of subtle synchrony, a testament to years of understanding and mutual respect. Mornings began with the soft clatter of coffee mugs and the hum of the toaster, as Emma prepared breakfast while Jack read the newspaper at the kitchen table. They rarely needed words to communicate the simple joys of waking side by side. Emma would glance up from her eggs, catching Jack's eye with a smile that said, "Another day with you." Jack, in turn, would nod, a quiet affirmation that their life, while unremarkable to some, was exactly what he wanted. Jack, a graphic designer, worked from a small studio space he had converted in the basement. It was filled with sketches, color swatches, and the faint aroma of cedar from the wooden shelves he had built himself. Emma, a school librarian, found solace amid shelves of books that lined the walls of her own quiet sanctuary. Their careers, though different in pace and nature, complemented the balance they sought at home. Jack's creative bursts met with Emma's steady calm, a yin and yang that underpinned their days. Weekends were sacred, a time to step away from the demands of work and embrace the comfort of family and community. Saturday mornings often meant a slow breakfast on the porch, where Emma sipped her tea and Jack read aloud from a novel they were sharing. Their voices mingled with the neighborhood's gentle hum. Children playing across the street, the distant bark of a dog, the soft rustling of leaves stirred by a warm breeze. These moments, layered with quiet contentment, were the fabric of their life, a tapestry woven with shared memories and the promise of more to come. Their social circle was small but close-knit. On Sundays they hosted family dinners, a tradition they both cherished. The dining room table, polished to a soft gleam, was often laden with dishes Emma prepared with care. Roast chicken, mashed potatoes, and her signature apple pie cooling on the windowsill. Jack's parents lived nearby, and his sister and her husband would often join, filling the house with laughter and stories that stretched late into the evening. These gatherings reinforced the sense of belonging that Emma and Jack valued deeply, grounding them in a community that felt like an extension of their own love. Despite the steady cadence of their lives, Emma and Jack nurtured dreams for the future. They talked quietly about travel, places they longed to see hand in hand, from the cobblestone streets of Paris to the sun-drenched beaches of Santorini. They imagined a cozy cabin by a lake, where weekends could be spent hiking and reading by the fire. These aspirations, though never urgent, hovered gently on the horizon, a shared vision that gave their present a subtle glow. In the evenings, the couple found solace in routine rituals. After dinner, they often settled into the living room, the soft light of a lamp casting warm shadows against the walls lined with books and framed memories. Emma would curl up with a novel while Jack sketched quietly, the scratch of his pencil a comforting soundtrack. Sometimes they would talk about their day, their voices low and steady, weaving a dialogue that reassured and connected. Other nights, silence was their companion, a peaceful pause that spoke volumes more than words ever could. Their home was a sanctuary, a place where vulnerability was met with kindness and where the small acts of care, folding laundry, brewing a cup of coffee just the way the other liked it, a hand resting lightly on a shoulder, spoke of a love that had grown deeper with time. Emma felt safe here, wrapped in the steady presence of Jack, whose quiet strength grounded her. Jack, in turn, found in Emma a partner whose empathy and warmth made their house a home, a refuge from the world's clamor. The predictability of their days was not a sign of stagnation, but a reflection of a relationship built on trust and respect. They embraced the ordinary because it was theirs, a rhythm that allowed space for both growth and comfort. Their love was not marked by grand gestures or tumultuous highs but by the steady beat of shared life, a foundation as solid as the oak tree that shaded their front yard. On a crisp autumn afternoon, as leaves painted the sidewalks in hues of amber and gold, Emma and Jack took a quiet walk through their neighborhood. The air was tinged with the scent of wood smoke and the promise of coming change. Jack slipped his hand into Emma's, their fingers intertwining with the ease of familiarity. They exchanged few words, content in the silence that spoke of years spent knowing one another deeply. Back home, as dusk settled softly over Maplewood, Emma glanced around their living room. The worn couch where they had shared countless stories, the shelves lined with books that had been their companions through life seasons, the photographs capturing smiles that never seemed to fade. She felt a swell of gratitude for the life they had crafted together, a life grounded in mutual respect and quiet joy. Jack caught her gaze and smiled, a look that carried the unspoken promise of tomorrow and the steadfastness of today. Their world was simple, perhaps even ordinary to some, but to them it was everything. In the steady cadence of their daily lives, Emma and Jack found not just comfort but a profound sense of belonging, an unshakable foundation upon which their future would be built. The steady rhythm of Emma and Jack's life began to unravel on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon, the kind of day that seemed unremarkable until a single moment shifted everything. Jack had returned early from a client meeting, his mind still swirling with ideas and deadlines. He had planned to surprise Emma with a quiet coffee break together, imagining the comfort of their shared space as a balm for the busy day. But as he stepped inside their home, the familiar warmth felt suddenly different, laden with an unspoken tension he hadn't anticipated. Emma was in the living room, her fingers nervously tracing the edge of a worn book, a faraway look in her eyes that Jack couldn't place. Before he could say anything, his gaze caught something on the coffee table. A small envelope, worn at the edges, partially hidden beneath a stack of magazines. His curiosity piqued. He picked it up and unfolded the letter inside. The words were carefully penned, but the message they carried was heavy with implications that unsettled him deeply. The letter was from a woman named Claire, someone Emma had never mentioned. It spoke of a past event, one Emma had insisted was long gone and irrelevant to their present. But the tone of the letter revealed a different story, one marked by apologies, regret, and a plea for understanding. Jack's heart pounded as he realized this was the secret she had kept from him, the truth she had hidden behind gentle smiles and carefully crafted reassurances. Conflicted and unsure how to confront the revelation, Jack waited until that evening. The dinner table, once a place of comfort and connection, now felt like a stage set for confrontation. Emma noticed his silence, the way his eyes lingered on the letter folded in his hand, and her own heart tightened with the weight of impending exposure. "Jack," she began softly, her voice trembling just slightly, "I suppose you found it." He nodded, unable to mask the hurt in his expression. "Emma, why didn't you tell me? Why keep this from me all these years?" Her eyes filled with tears, a mixture of guilt and fear swirling within them. She took a shaky breath and met his gaze, knowing that the walls she had built around her past were crumbling. "I was scared," she admitted. "I thought it would change how you saw me. I wanted to protect us. Protect you." Jack's mind raced as he tried to reconcile the woman he loved with the secret she had guarded so fiercely. The lie was not about a trivial matter but a pivotal moment from her past, an event she had fabricated a story around to shield him from pain. The more he listened, the more he felt the foundation of trust they had built begin to crack. "I trusted you," he said quietly, the weight of betrayal heavy in his tone. "We promised honesty. How do I know what else isn't true?" Emma's shoulders sagged under the weight of his words. She reached out, but he pulled back slightly, the space between them suddenly vast and unfamiliar. The warmth that had defined their marriage seemed to dissipate, replaced by a cold distance that neither knew how to bridge. The days that followed were marked by silence and shadowed glances. Jack withdrew into himself, wrestling with feelings of anger and confusion. Emma, haunted by her deceit, moved through their home like a ghost, her presence a constant reminder of the fracture she had caused. The comfortable routines that once defined them now felt strained, each interaction charged with unspoken questions and lingering doubt. Jack found himself replaying moments, searching for signs he had missed, the hesitation in her voice, the guarded expressions, the subtle changes that now seemed like warning flags. He questioned his own judgment, wondering how he had been so blind to the truth. The betrayal was not just about the lie itself but the erosion of the shared reality they had carefully maintained. Emma, meanwhile, grappled with a storm of emotions. Her lie had been born from fear, but the consequences were far more damaging than she had imagined. She wanted to explain, to make him understand the reasons behind her deception, but every attempt felt inadequate against the chasm that had opened between them. Nights were the hardest. The silence around her was deafening, echoing with regrets and the longing for forgiveness she feared might never come. One evening, Jack sat alone in their living room, the letter still in his hand, as the weight of disillusionment pressed down on him. He stared at the photographs on the wall, images of smiles and shared dreams, and wondered how much of it had been real. The lie had cast a shadow over their history, coloring even the brightest moments with doubt. Emma watched from the doorway, unsure how to reach him, unsure if he wanted to be reached. Her heart ached with the knowledge that the trust they had nurtured was fragile, perhaps irreparably broken. She whispered apologies into the quiet, hoping somehow they would find a way to heal the wounds her silence had inflicted. The revelation had shattered the life they had built, exposing vulnerabilities neither was prepared to face so soon. The ease of their shared routine was replaced by tentative steps, cautious glances, and the heavy burden of unspoken pain. Emma and Jack found themselves at a crossroads, caught between the comfort of the past and the uncertain path forward, where truth and trust would need to be rebuilt, if that was even possible. The days turned into weeks, but the silence between Emma and Jack grew heavier, an invisible barrier that neither knew how to dismantle. Their home, once filled with warmth and easy conversation, now felt like a fragile shell holding together memories that seemed distant and fragile. Each morning Emma awoke to the space beside her bed, empty and cold, a stark reminder of the emotional distance that had settled between them. Jack's presence was there, but it was muted, like a shadow that no longer stretched toward hers. Jack moved through the house with a quiet reserve, avoiding the familiar touches and glances that once defined their connection. His usual smiles were absent, replaced by a guarded expression that made Emma feel like a stranger in their shared life. Conversations became clipped and cautious, laden with the weight of unspoken grievances and simmering doubt. The comfortable rhythm of their days was disrupted, replaced by a tense stillness that neither wanted to acknowledge but both felt acutely. Emma found herself retreating into memories, searching for moments when things had been simpler. She recalled the laughter that had once filled their kitchen, the way Jack's eyes crinkled when he smiled, the effortless ease of their companionship. Those flashes of the past were bittersweet, highlighting the chasm that now separated them. She longed to reach out to bridge the gap with words and gestures, but fear held her back. Fear that any attempt might push Jack further away. Jack, meanwhile, wrestled with a storm of emotions. The betrayal lingered like a wound that refused to heal, each thought of Emma's lie stirring feelings of anger, hurt, and confusion. He questioned himself constantly. Had he misread her? Was their entire relationship built on half-truths? The certainty he once felt was replaced by a gnawing uncertainty that clouded his every interaction. He wanted to believe in the woman he loved, but the fracture in their trust made him wary, cautious about opening his heart again. Their attempts at communication were fraught with difficulty. When they did speak, the conversations often spiraled into misunderstandings or defensiveness. Jack's words, sharp with frustration, clashed with Emma's quiet apologies and explanations. The emotional distance widened with each misstep, creating a cycle of resentment and regret that neither could escape. It was as if they were speaking different languages, their true feelings lost in translation. One evening, as a storm raged outside, Emma sat alone in the living room, the soft glow of a lamp casting flickering shadows on the walls. She clutched a photo of them taken on a summer vacation, their faces alight with happiness, unaware of the turmoil that awaited. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she remembered the promises they had made, the dreams they still held. The contrast between then and now was stark, a painful reminder of how fragile love could be when trust was broken. Jack entered quietly, hesitating at the doorway. He looked at Emma, vulnerable and raw, and felt a pang of sorrow. The anger that had consumed him softened, replaced by a deep ache for what they had lost. He sat beside her, the silence between them filled with unspoken apologies and longing. Yet the words that might mend the rift remained elusive, trapped beneath layers of hurt and pride. Flashbacks to happier times played in Jack's mind. Their first date at a quaint cafe, the late-night talks under starlit skies, the way Emma's laughter had once been his favorite sound. Those memories, vivid and tender, clashed painfully with the reality they now faced. He wondered if they could ever find their way back to that place, or if the lie had permanently altered the course of their relationship. Emma sensed Jack's turmoil and reached out tentatively, her hand resting lightly on his. The touch was hesitant, fragile, yet it carried the weight of her desire to heal. Jack looked down at her hand, conflicted emotions swirling in his eyes. The connection was tentative, a fragile thread linking two fractured hearts, but it was a start, a small step toward rebuilding what had been broken. The emotional distance between them was a chasm filled with doubt and pain, but also with the faint glimmer of hope. Both Emma and Jack realized that the path ahead would not be easy. They needed to confront their feelings honestly, to navigate the complex landscape of hurt and forgiveness. The road to healing required patience, empathy, and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths. As the storm outside subsided, the quiet between them held a new possibility. It was fragile and uncertain, but it was there. A reminder that even in the darkest moments, the seeds of reconciliation could be sown. Emma and Jack sat together, two souls grappling with the aftermath of deception, yet still bound by the memories and love that had once defined them. In the days that followed, they continued to stumble through conversations, each one a tentative attempt to bridge the gap. Sometimes they faltered, retreating into silence or frustration. Other times they found moments of clarity and connection, brief glimpses of the understanding they both yearned for. The process was slow and painful, but it was a path they were willing to walk together. Their fractured relationship was no longer the seamless tapestry it had once been. Instead, it was a mosaic of broken pieces, each jagged edge a reminder of the pain endured. Yet, within those shards lay the potential for something new. A relationship rebuilt on honesty, vulnerability, and a deeper awareness of each other's hearts. Emma and Jack faced the challenge of redefining their love, acknowledging that trust, once broken, required more than words to restore. It demanded time, effort, and the courage to be open even when it was difficult. Their journey was far from over, but the first steps toward healing had been taken, marked by the tentative reaching across the divide that separated them. The weight of deception hung over their lives like a shadow, but it did not extinguish the light that still flickered between them. As they navigated the uncertain terrain of forgiveness and understanding, Emma and Jack began to glimpse the possibility of a future where honesty could once again be the foundation of their shared life. Emma sat at the kitchen table, the soft morning light filtering through the curtains and casting a warm glow over the scattered papers and empty coffee mugs. The quiet of the house contrasted sharply with the turmoil that had settled within her heart. Today was different, though. Today was the day she decided to truly face Jack, to lay bare the fears and regrets she had kept hidden for so long. She had rehearsed her words in her mind countless times, hoping that honesty could be the bridge back to him. When Jack entered the room, his expression was guarded, but there was a flicker of curiosity in his eyes. Emma took a deep breath, steadying herself against the pounding of her heart. "Jack," she began softly, "I want to talk about everything, the lie, the fear, why I kept it from you." Jack nodded, settling into the chair opposite her. His gaze held a mixture of caution and openness, a fragile space where healing might begin. Emma's voice wavered as she spoke, but the sincerity in her words grounded her. "I wasn't trying to deceive you, to hurt you. The truth was something I was ashamed of, something I thought would change how you saw me. I was scared, and instead of sharing that fear, I let it fester. I see now how wrong that was." Jack listened, the tension in his shoulders easing slightly. For the first time since the revelation, he saw Emma not as the keeper of secrets, but as a woman burdened by vulnerability and regret. She continued, her eyes glistening with tears. "I want you to understand that my silence came from a place of love, misguided as it was. I was trying to protect us, but I realize now I only pushed us apart." The honesty in her confession stirred something deep within Jack. He felt the weight of anger and hurt begin to shift, replaced by a cautious empathy. "Emma," he said quietly, "it's been hard. I felt betrayed, like the foundation of everything we built was crumbling. But hearing you now, I can see the fear beneath it all. I want to understand, even if it's difficult." Their conversation unfolded slowly, each word a step toward dismantling the walls that had grown between them. Emma shared the tangled emotions that had led to her silence, the shame, the uncertainty, the hope that somehow the past wouldn't matter. Jack, in turn, expressed his pain and confusion, the vulnerability he had hidden behind anger. The dialogue was raw and imperfect, but it was real. and that reality was a bomb neither had known they needed. In the days that followed, their interactions took on a new tone. The ease of old routines began to return, not in the way they had been before, but in a deeper, more intentional way. Jack found himself seeking moments to listen without judgment, to offer support rather than distance. Emma, encouraged by his willingness to engage, opened up more freely, sharing her fears and hopes without the filter of pretense. One afternoon, as they sat side by side on the porch swing, Emma reached for Jack's hand. It was a simple gesture, but it carried the weight of their renewed commitment to honesty. Jack intertwined his fingers with hers, a silent reassurance that they were walking this path together. The sun dipped low, casting a golden hue over their quiet space, and in that moment, the promise of healing felt tangible. Their renewed dialogue brought with it moments of vulnerability that were both challenging and healing. Emma's willingness to confront her mistakes without defensiveness allowed Jack to express his lingering doubts without fear of rejection. They talked late into the night, peeling back layers of pain and misunderstanding, discovering in each other a resilience that neither had expected. Jack began to reflect on his own feelings, recognizing that forgiveness was not a singular act but a process, one that required patience and empathy. He admitted to himself that holding on to resentment only deepened the divide, and that opening his heart again, while frightening, was necessary for their future. Emma's courage to face her past inspired him to confront his own wounds, creating a space where both could heal. Amid these conversations, they also found moments of lightness and joy. A shared joke, a familiar song, the comfort of a quiet evening together. These small reprieves reminded them of the love that had drawn them together in the first place. The fractures in their relationship did not erase the foundation of care and affection. Instead, they highlighted the complexity of human connection and the strength required to sustain it. Emma and Jack's journey toward understanding was neither linear nor easy. There were setbacks, days when old wounds reopened, when doubt crept in despite their best intentions. Yet, each challenge was met with a renewed commitment to listen and to hold space for one another's pain. They learned to navigate the delicate balance between honesty and compassion, recognizing that healing required both. One evening, as rain pattered softly against the windows, Jack reached out to Emma with a tentative smile. "Thank you," he said simply, "for being brave enough to tell me the truth, even when it was hard." Emma returned his smile, a mixture of relief and hope shining in her eyes. "Thank you for listening," she replied, "for choosing to understand instead of turning away." Their shared gratitude marked a turning point, an acknowledgement that their relationship, though tested, was not beyond repair. The path ahead was still uncertain, but the foundation of openness they were building offered a new kind of strength. It was a strength born not from perfection, but from the willingness to face imperfection together. In the quiet moments that followed, Emma and Jack sat side by side, the distance between them shrinking with every breath. The journey to rebuild trust was ongoing, but the first steps had been taken with honesty and grace. They understood that forgiveness was a gift, one they both needed to give and receive. As night settled over their home, the fragile bond between them felt a little stronger, a little more resilient. Emma and Jack embraced the complexity of their love, knowing that true connection required patience, understanding, and the courage to be vulnerable. Their story was far from over, but in this chapter, they found hope in the promise of renewal. The seasons shifted gently outside Emma and Jack's suburban home, mirroring the quiet transformation unfolding within their lives. The wounds left by deception and silence had not vanished overnight, but the space between them was no longer defined by distance or doubt. Instead, it was filled with a new kind of strength, one forged through honesty, forgiveness, and a shared commitment to move forward. Their renewed relationship was not a return to the seamless harmony of the past, but an evolution into something deeper and more resilient. Emma and Jack had learned that love was not an unbroken thread, but a tapestry woven from moments of vulnerability, pain, and grace. This understanding colored their days with a profound appreciation for the complexity of human connection. Mornings began again with quiet rituals, the familiar clink of coffee cups and soft greetings carrying a warmth that spoke of healing. Jack would often linger at the kitchen counter, sharing plans for the day or recalling a detail from a book Emma had recommended. Emma, in turn, found joy in the small acts of care they exchanged. Folding laundry together, preparing meals side by side, or simply sitting in silence, the comfort of presence replacing the need for words. Their weekend family dinners resumed with laughter and stories, the table once again a gathering place of love and belonging. Jack's parents noticed the subtle changes, the lightness in his smile, the ease in Emma's laughter, and shared quiet glances that spoke of hope. Emma's sister-in-law remarked on the renewed warmth between the couple, sensing the unspoken journey they had undertaken. Despite the healing, Emma and Jack remained mindful of the fragility of trust. They honored the lessons learned from their past mistakes by nurturing openness and transparency in their daily lives. Difficult conversations were met with patience, and moments of doubt were addressed with gentle reassurance. This new foundation was not built on perfection, but on the sincere effort to understand and support one another. One afternoon, as autumn leaves drifted lazily to the ground, Emma and Jack took a walk through their neighborhood park. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of earth and wood smoke, and the sun cast long shadows that danced beneath the trees. They walked hand in hand, their fingers entwined with the ease of two people who had weathered storms and emerged stronger. Jack stopped beneath a towering oak, turning to Emma with a smile that held both gratitude and affection. "I've been thinking about our future," he said quietly. "About the places we still want to see, the dreams we've yet to chase." Emma's eyes lit up, her heart swelling with hope. "I want that too," she replied. "I want to keep building together." Their conversation flowed naturally, filled with plans for travel, quiet weekends at a lakeside cabin, and the simple joys of shared life. They acknowledged the challenges they had faced, and the work it would take to continue growing. But their words were infused with a renewed sense of possibility and trust. Back home, their sanctuary reflected this new chapter. The photographs that lined the hallway now included recent moments of joy, snapshots of laughter during a family barbecue, candid smiles from a weekend getaway, quiet evenings by the fire. Each image was a testament to the resilience of their love and the power of forgiveness to heal even the deepest wounds. Emma often found herself reflecting on the journey they had taken. She recognized that the lies she had once believed necessary to protect their relationship had instead threatened to destroy it. The path to reconciliation had required courage, humility, and the willingness to embrace imperfection. In the process, she discovered that true connection was not about hiding flaws, but about facing them together. Jack, too, carried the lessons of their experience with him. He understood now that love demanded more than trust. It required vulnerability and the grace to forgive. The anger and hurt that had once clouded his heart had softened into a quiet strength, a resolve to honor the bond they shared with honesty and compassion. Their story was no longer defined by the fracture that had once threatened to undo them, but by the healing that had brought them back to one another. Emma and Jack had chosen to stay, not out of weakness or resignation but from a place of strength and understanding. They embraced the complexity of their love, knowing that it was this very complexity that made it real and enduring. As twilight settled over their neighborhood, Emma and Jack sat together on their porch swing, the cool breeze carrying the scent of autumn blossoms. Their hands were intertwined, a silent promise that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them side by side. The world beyond their home was vast and uncertain, but within the walls they had built, there was a steadfast refuge, a love renewed through patience, respect, and the unyielding commitment to each other. In this place, Emma and Jack found not just reconciliation but a deeper connection, a love that had been tested and tempered, emerging stronger and more vibrant. Their journey was a testament to the power of forgiveness and the enduring strength of human bonds. Together they looked forward, carrying the lessons of their past as a guide toward a future filled with hope, trust, and unwavering devotion. If you loved the story, like the video and subscribe.